integration, multicultural mob doesn't want you to know, doesn't want you to look at, because that goes against their agenda. They don't want you speaking about stories like this because it goes against their agenda. Vaush was another one recently who didn't like it when things go against his agenda. So before we go on about the rest of this stuff, such as the real kind of conflict that we're in and why I think it's a spiritual conflict, this is a funny clip to go over, ladies and gentlemen. Vaush is a liberal, left-wing, I believe he's more so even not just liberal, but outright communist streamer, right? He's a streamer. And it's very funny to watch him get his ass kicked in repeated debates and stuff like that. But he was watching this recently, and somebody posted this clip from Vaush's stream, and it says, "It's all just this clip." And I want you to watch how quickly Vaush, this white knighting, believe all women, woke liberal lefty, goes from, oh, West is so evil, we have this rape culture, this is why Me Too movement happened, because women weren't being believed, they're not taken seriously, all this stuff. Watch how quickly, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be careful with how quickly he moves from that side of the boat, that side to the other side of victim blaming, because it goes against his other presuppositions. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen, you might break your neck with how quickly this man 180s on this clip. So here's the initial preamble for the clip, ladies and gentlemen, where Vaush goes on about this really long ramble about rape culture and all stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny because I'm over here.
You know what? Okay, wait, hold on. I should probably move my webcam down because I'm like blocking their faces. I've been doing it the whole video. I just want to say, do you think it maybe speaks a little bit to the fact that we have a rape culture when we put 6 people in a room together to talk about Me Too, and when they're like, hey, who of you have experienced sexual assault? And the 4 women sit down and they've all been raped and they all can barely choke out a coherent sentence. Do we think this perhaps maybe slightly speaks to the fact that there's a problem? Like, Me Too has gone too far. False allegations are ruining people's lives. Okay. Who among you have experienced sexual assault? And like every woman in the room starts crying. Like, almost every female friend I have has been the recipient of sexual assault or violence or rape or whatever at some point in their lives. Seriously, it's such a common thing. I think 1 in 4 is probably understating it significantly. I wouldn't be surprised if the rate for sexual assault on women over one's lifetime was as high as 1 in 3 or 1 in 2. We just don't know because nobody fucking reports, because reports aren't taken seriously. That's what Me Too is about.
Right. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen, just before we go into the rest of the clip. Reports aren't taken seriously. They're not believed. It's likely even underrepresented. It could be as high as 1 in 3. Wouldn't be surprised if it's 1 in 3, all of this stuff, right? We have a systematic rape culture in the Western world. We are such moral degenerates and all of this stuff, right? In some instances, a lot of the people we're bringing over from these other backwards cultures certainly do have a rape culture. But Vaush would never allow himself to believe that, would certainly never allow anybody to say that without at least explaining and going off on about why they're wrong and horrible and all of these things, right? Especially if it turns out that, the police didn't follow up on this rape story because, say, for example, the perpetrator was of the wrong race and the wrong religion, that the untouchable race and the untouchable religion in our society, right? No, that could never happen. Obviously, every single rapist or person involved in rape culture is obviously a white, heterosexual, very likely Christian man, right? Of course it is. Remember everything Vaush just said, ladies and gentlemen. Remember everything he just said about women not being believed, about how things aren't taken seriously, about that's why Me Too happened, all of this stuff, right? About rape culture, about rape rates, all of this stuff that you can sit 6 women down in a room and 4 of them have been raped. Watch what happens now, ladies and gentlemen.
You're like, I don't think things are on the same level, but things impact you in like bizarre ways. But yeah, like, because the perpetrator wasn't white, and because he was like, I'm, part of like a certain religion.
Wait, are we being real?
And the police were basically just like, we can't because of cultural
Here we go.
differences, which I don't feel like
Strap
is
in.
such a-
What? Bullshit. Are you fucking kidding me? Did she turn her fucking rape confession onto how the rape refugees fucking Ahmed Muhammad raped her and the police were like, oh, we can't persecute brown people? Bullshit. Bullshit.
Told you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you watched your neck. I hope you held it in place because Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. So again, because it did not fit Vaush's pre-perceived notions of how all of this works, because a rapist happened to be, as we've seen in the UK, for example, it is exceedingly common. It is exceedingly common. Again, Operation Stovewood. In fact, I'm gonna go find the graph a bit quick. This is completely off the cuff. I wasn't exactly gonna do this at the moment, but you remember from last time, ladies and gentlemen, that we covered not last time, the time before, we covered this exactly. We covered exactly this. So you know from before that in Operation Stovewood, which was in Rotherham, and this is looking at child sexual abuse and exploitation, mind you, that nearly 2/3 came from a Pakistani ethnic background. So here you go. You remember this graph from before. You'll remember this graph from before. This can't happen, according to Vaush. This can't happen. And if you say that it did happen, you're turning a rape confession. You're turning a rape confession into the refugees, Ahmed and Abdul and Abdullah and Mohammed and all of these people are coming over doing this. Yeah, yes, they are. Because Vaush could never believe, for example, that Islam wasn't just solely a religion of peace and that, generations of young British children have been sacrificed on the altar of rape jihad and all stuff like that. That could never happen. That could never, ever happen. There could never be a system in which, a white person was a victim in anything, in any kind of thing. Could never, ever, ever happen in Vaush's worldview. It could never be that somebody who was black and a Muslim could ever be, the wrongdoer. But that's how quickly these people turn against them. And then, again, they see supposed friends like Vaush. You've got to be careful who you talk to with these things, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to be careful who you talk to with these things, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's why a lot of people, when Tommy Robinson was trying to bring people to light about, to bring to light what was going on with the rape gangs creating the rape of Britain and stuff like that, a lot of the women that he talked to, a lot of them didn't initially want to talk to him because they disagreed with his politics. They thought his politics was abhorrent. But they did see that even though they might have disagreed with him politically, on everything, vehemently, that at the very least it seemed that he had some kind of principles that he was going with, and at least he was going to tell the truth, and he was actually going to be there for them and support them. A lot of victims have said that even though we hated Tommy Robinson initially, one of the girls came and said, I absolutely hated him, hated his politics, hated this, hated that. But he was one of the ones that actually was there for them. So it's kind of thing, right? It's kind of funny how the people who initially want a white knight for you and simp for you and all of these things, right? That as soon as you say things that go against some other thing that they have, that if you were to tell them all of a sudden, oh, the person who raped me was this and this, and they've got it into their mind that it can't be anything other than the exact opposite of that, they'll turn on you. Oh, no, you're just politicizing your rape confession because you hate black people or you hate brown people or you hate Muslims and stuff like that, right? Where somebody who initially you liked this person because you got along with them politically, and then as soon as, or you just got along with them because they tried to be your friend or they said this and that, how empathetic and good natured they are, and then all of a sudden you say this and they turn on you. They turn on you and they stab you in the back. And let you know what a bad person you are. Or how could you say that? They're such an underrepresented minority. They already get enough problems as it is, and now you're going to say that? Didn't matter that you were raped then. It only matters then that you don't upset the apple cart. That's what matters. Whereas you can have somebody like Tommy Robinson who you hate, but at the very least, you know, he's actually going to be there for you because he actually cares about what you've been through and wants to try and help you in some way to bring your perpetrators to justice. Vaush would never do that. People like Vaush would never do that.